Is Bitcoin in a bubble? So this is a big question. A lot of people are wondering, because you've got a lot of people who do think it's in a bubble, but yet a lot of people behind Bitcoin think that it's just going to keep on rising. So there's all kinds of predictions. With like John McAfee saying it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars by the year of 2020. So, if that's the case, that's just 2 years away. And if that's the case, it's got a long way to go. It's actually at an all-time high right now as I'm recording this. It is $6,704. So, that's pretty high. Just about a year ago, at the end of 2016, Bitcoin was under $1,000. So it's went from being less than $1,000 to almost $9,000. And in a way, it's kind of over $10,000 because if you add the price of Bitcoin Cash, it's over $10,000. So if you owned Bitcoin before the fork and you got the Bitcoin Cash also, you add those two together, it's over $10,000. So in about a year, Bitcoin has went up 10 times in value. And it was already pretty high, at least what most people thought. When Bitcoin was $800, they thought it was already pretty high in value. So let's go ahead and look at the chart just to give you an idea of the kind of growth that I'm talking about. Now, this is basically what they call a hockey stick. You see there for a long time, Bitcoin, it didn't move much. And then all of a sudden, in the year 2017, it took off. And it just went up. You'll see that there are some corrections. It would go down, then it would go back up. It will go down, then it'll go back up. And it just keeps doing that, repeating that cycle of reaching new highs, little correction, and then new highs. So, when you see a chart like this, you think sell, 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 cash in on your profits. But Bitcoin is unique. What's going on here is a complete revolution or evolution in the financial industry, and it's unprecedented. So while typically throughout history when you see big gains like this, it looks like it's in a huge bubble, but with Bitcoin that actually may not be the case. In fact, it could just keep going up and up and up, and here's why. There's really a pretty limited amount of Bitcoins, especially if it's going to take over the economy. Now, the thing about Bitcoin is it's a world economy. It's not just a U.S. currency or any other country's currency. It's a world currency. So, it has the potential to make other currencies obsolete all around the world, and maybe most of them or all of them, to the extreme. But the thing is people from all over the world are already ditching their own currency and putting their money into Bitcoin, and there's a lot more money that can be funneled into Bitcoin. This is just the beginning. Think about it. How many people actually even know about Bitcoin and understand it? It's a pretty small number of the people. And then of those people, how many of them actually own Bitcoin? Well, to be honest, I don't even own Bitcoin, and I'm doing a video on it. So if I don't own it, then there's a lot of people still that don't own it. I own a little bit, but almost nothing. And that's just because, I wasn't really a big fan of Bitcoin at first. And really what got me on board is the technology behind it, which is blockchain technology. And people are using the technology for all kinds of different things besides Bitcoin. So there's all these different cryptocurrencies now, not just Bitcoin anymore. But, Bitcoin could have a long way to go. And this could still be very early on. Just a few years from now, we could be looking back like, oh, I thought Bitcoin was in a bubble when it was at $8,000 because I thought it was in a bubble when it was at $800. I remember gold was like around $1,200 or something, which is still is. A year later, gold hasn't moved much. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this thing is in a huge bubble. Who would pay almost as much for a virtual currency, a Bitcoin, as, who would pay almost the same amount for that as they would for an actual ounce of real gold? And, boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I stupid. Was I blind? I had no idea that people would pay thousands of dollars for a Bitcoin, even just a year ago. Now I know why. Now, so, it could continue to go up. Could go from 8,000 to, 80,000 in the next year, go up another 10 times. Because things happen exponentially. Now that this year people have seen so many gains, all the people that made all this money, they're, probably bragging to their friends, buying stuff, or whatever. And now in 2018, the people that were on the sidelines who just watched their friends, you make 10 times their investment, maybe they're going to start getting into Bitcoin. And for every one person that was into it in 2017, there'll be 3, 4, or 5 people that are getting into it in 2018. So it could see the same jump in the next year. But at the same time, it could go down. This is a huge gain. It could have a serious correction. There's a lot of controversy going on. The Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate right now. No one really knows which one is going to win. But there's a good chance that it might end up only being one of the two that prevail over time. And the market will decide which one becomes the Bitcoin that comes out in the end. So, there's an uncertain future for Bitcoin. We don't know what is going to come out of the whole, thing. And then also there's other currencies constantly popping up. Some of them are improving upon Bitcoin in some ways. So, we don't know what next year is going to provide. But I will tell you this. Bix Weir predicted $10,000 Bitcoin this time last year. And it seemed crazy because, that's a huge return. That's a bold statement. And a lot of that is based on Cliff High's data with his webbot. And I tell you what, these guys have been pretty accurate. I've been, following them and listening and seeing how accurate they were. And then I saw all these accurate predictions. I saw they're making all these monies on these ICOs and stuff. And I decided to jump in. And so far, so good. I've been doing pretty well. So, they hit that was a bold prediction that they made a year ago, and they hit the nail on the head. Now, Cliff High's data has Bitcoin at 40,000 by next summer. So that's a 5 times return in half of a year. So if they were right about last year's prediction, maybe they're right about next year's prediction. It's certainly possible. And a lot of people in the Bitcoin community believe so. And as long as they believe it's going to go up that high, then they're not likely to want to sell their Bitcoins. Why sell it at $8,000? Even if you paid $20 for it, why sell it for $8,000 if you think it's going to hit $40,000 in 6 months? That's a huge difference. So, even if it is in a bubble, the bubble could get bigger and bigger. Another thing to consider is the supply. If you look on CoinMarketCap right here, there's almost 17 million Bitcoins circulating right now. Almost 17 million. Now, the max supply is 21 million. And that's the other, so basically most of them have already been mined, and the additional 4.3 million Bitcoins will be slowly mined over time. So most of the mining has already taken place. And so the supply isn't going to increase that much over the next coming years. But the demand is going to increase a lot. We're going to see 2 or 3 or 4 times the demand for Bitcoin over the next year. And probably, similar increase in demand in the following years after that. And especially if it takes over the, as a world currency. It could continue. The demand could keep on increasing until the price. It's hard to say where it could go, but there aren't even enough Bitcoins for every single millionaire just in the United States alone to own 1 Bitcoin. So if they want to have their money in, a sound currency, at least a currency that's perceived to be sound, then they're going to put it into Bitcoin. And there isn't even enough for every millionaire to have 1 Bitcoin. So how much would the Bitcoin have to go for? And that's just in the US, much less all the millionaires throughout the world. Plus all the other people who aren't millionaires that own a little bit. So, it's anyone's call. It's going to be an interesting ride over the next few years watching how this all pans out. Especially with the Bitcoin, because we've seen so much. And with the Bitcoin forks going on and stuff like that. The truth is no one knows, but the future does look bright for Bitcoin. It really looks brighter than ever for Bitcoin, despite the fact that we've just seen a huge increase. So what a story. If you guys haven't seen the documentary Banking on Bitcoin, it's on Netflix right now. But I encourage you to watch that. If you're just now learning about all this stuff, that's a good resource. There are some other ones like The Rise and Rise of Bitcoin, which is interesting because it was produced in 2014. And it was the rise and rise, not the rise and fall. And it didn't even see its rise by the time that but it tells the story, so it's good to watch these documentaries. But if you want to get started in cryptos, I've got a few other crypto videos. I've got more coming. So subscribe to my YouTube channel so that way you can keep update with not only crypto news, but all kinds of other information that I feel that the world needs to know about. And I've got an intro into cryptocurrencies. I'm going to make a video how to get started with cryptos. But the easiest way, just real quick, is to join Coinbase. It's the #1 exchange, basically. It's the most user-friendly. It's the best place to start. And if you join Coinbase using my referral link in the description below, we both will get $10 in Bitcoin for free with your first $100 purchase. So that's already a 10% gain. You spend $100, you get 110 in cryptocurrencies. And if Bitcoin goes up another 10 times next year, that $10 will be worth $100. So check the description and use my referral link. We both win. And, hopefully this helps you, get an idea of where we are. I have no idea, just is it in a bubble? It looks like it, but I don't think it is. So that's my answer. That's my short answer. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below if you think Bitcoin is in a bubble, or if you think it's a good time to buy Bitcoin or sell. If you have an opinion on the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash debate, let us know which one you believe in for the future and why. So again, thank you so much for watching my video. And if you think it was good, give me a thumbs up. And if you didn't like it, get the hell off my page. No, I'm playing. Have a great day.